Hi guys, welcome back to another quick card pull. Today we're pulling from the Dragon Tarot cards. This is being filmed on Sunday, August 16th, 2026. Starting off with the Three of Pentacles, and this could either be like going back to your spiritual beliefs, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. This also could be working in collaboration, as long as we stick together as a team. So this could be highlighting your family, so like mother and daughters, or significance of three. This is where it's just like I feel like they were saying, if we're not getting answers to the questions we are asking, like, and this is from Anastasia as well on TikTok and Instagram, as she's very big on both channels. It's like changing the way we're asking the question so we can receive the answers. Be open from like For You page, be open to like television shows, songs, images, like someone sending you something. Hey, I was just thinking of you and I thought of you in this situation. Because sometimes, because we're going through this shed. So Aya Wisdom was, and they have a second channel, I guess people are reporting the channel. They were saying, that there's this shift going on, and I was like, there's a cornucopia energy that's coming in here. So it feels like it's like everything is being taken away, or things just keep coming out of the blue where it's like a hindrance, a disruption. But this is temporary, and it's like they're giving you solutions, they're giving you answers. So birds of the air or whatever, like if you're an animal path, this is where spirit is guiding you. You know what I mean? This is where they're talking with you. I'm just 6 1. Okay, I'm gonna stop there because it's like cards keep coming, cards keep coming. See this Seven of Wands as well, Queen of Pentacles. So just like highlighting who you are and things coming out of the blue and stuff like that. But that's why I feel like they were saying like collaborations, working. So this could actually be about work as well. So take what resonates, because it could be both. It could be like working together is what, dream work, teamwork is what makes the dream work. You know what I mean? Like we can't turn against each other. But I also feel like this is where it's like, again, spiritual endeavors, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So you could be getting like passages or hymns, or like we have Thankful Thursdays. Someone had mentioned like Thankful Thursdays, and I really like that. And I was like, that's what I started calling Thursdays, when we listen to all the hymns and certain prayers that we do. It's like kind of like the pre like Shabbat kind of energies, like, you know what I mean. And it's just like sometimes certain hymns speak to you differently, or they really hit home at that time because you've been going through it. Like, when we light the Shabbat candle, not only are we calling in the light of God, but we're also burning up any negative situations or things that are causing, like, energies, or overthinking and stuff. Be mindful of your sleep, rest, and rejuvenation. So I was just like, please get me up early so I can get these things done, because of the heat that happened this summer. I was bringing out in heat rashes. So I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, I can't make this worse. You know what I mean? Like, going through the change, and it's like my body's already running hot. There's a heat wave, it runs even hotter, and then now I'm breaking out in a rash. So I was like, okay, I need to, you know what I mean? There was like no perfect time. 333 on the timer. So that's why I'm saying, like, really self care right now. Rest, rejuvenation. If you feel tired, like we should have definitely napped yesterday. But you know what I mean? It's just sometimes it's just like things can wait, that are not a top priority. Like this thing, like it bothers me because I'm the type of person that is just like, I like, if I know something needs to get done, I want to get it done. You know what I mean? So that's the way that I am, or it weighs on my mind. So it's just like, I try not to let it weigh on my mind, but you know what I mean? It's just like certain things that come to mind, or certain situations that kind of trigger that overthinking, and working on it. But you know that's what I feel like what they're saying here, because of what I pulled. It's like where we are right now, and the full moon on the 29th is going to be, everything's going to be different. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Things are going a certain way. They may look like they're heading a certain way, but I feel like that's what they're saying. Be truthful with yourself, be honest with yourself, be open to receiving messages, be open to receiving help. Remember that they said, you ask for help, be open for us to utilize other people's hands or knowledge. They're showing the word knowledge to help the situation. So 10 of swords. So there could be like a portrayal that has happened here, but I don't feel like it's a portrayal. I just feel like it's like a circumstance that keeps repeating itself, and it's not changing our heart, but it just, it's going to take us a minute to catch a beat. You know what I mean? Like they said, shedding skin. People, places, things. Very transformation energy, change and transformation, rebirth energy. You know what I mean? If you, this makes me think of my girlfriend, Courtney, because she's a snake girly. She's a snake mama, a lizard mama. They're saying like amphibian mama. I feel like you give her anything, she'll take care of it. They're like even a snail, but you know what I mean. This is where they're like when they're vulnerable like that, when they're shedding that skin, it's a lot of work. So that's where I'm like my body is getting warm because you know what I mean. You don't think that it's a lot of work. They're just shedding, but it's like everything is shedding. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where it's like you're feeling low in energy. You know what I mean? You can't. I feel like you could focus and keep a straight thought. I just feel like it's like I'd rather be thinking about something else. I'd rather not avoidance behavior, but it's just like enough of that now. Like even your higher self is like, why are you wasting your energy with this? Because you feel a certain way. You're going through a change, right? So, sometimes, and it is hurtful. Like they said, people are leaving our life. It feels like a loss, no harm to none, but it's just like, don't, you know what I mean? Force things that are not supposed to be in your life. Three of Swords, healing taking place. So if you're a sensitive person like myself, you wear your heart on your sleeve and you feel things deeply on a deeper level. You know what I mean? And it's like when you make connections, you actually are truly heartfelt making a connection. You know what I mean? Like this isn't, how people are just like, oh, acquaintances, this and that. They'll bring up previous conversations and it's like, remember they said this? It's like very dismissive. So it's like if they're dismissive, when they said that, that was dismissing everything. So even though you felt a genuine connection, they already told you off the bat, like, you can leave tomorrow and I wouldn't even give a flying poop. This is where we have to be very careful because it was a new moon energy. And I feel like it's just like, you're trying to achieve things, you're trying to do things, and this disruption kind of behavior happens. You know what I mean? I've mentioned this to a professional about certain people's behaviors with changes, and you know what I mean? Nothing was said, nothing was done, but I feel like that, and pentagram, it's what you give energy to, but like the pentagram on the heart, and that's where I feel like, anxiety. I don't feel so much anxiety. I just feel like it's trying to stir something up in you. So like we were saying, if it starts coming up a situation, nope, we're not feeding that energy. It's like the more you feed it, like a fire, the more I feed it oxygen, the bigger it's going to grow. So instead of making, that poor girl that's on trial right now, whatever your opinion is, this is not the forum to do that. But, but it's just like feeling that anxiety or feeling trapped or asking for help. And she was a medical professional, which is pretty, disgusting that even a medical professional can't get proper treatment. You know what I mean? It's like, where is our system turning into? But that's why I feel like something weighing heavy on your heart. You know what I mean? And this has nothing to do with her. But that's why I'm saying it's just like where they were talking about this, and it's like, girl, that totally resonates. Shaking of the foot, not falling asleep right away, feeling tired, but laying down, and it's like not tired. Like your body is like awake. That's because your brain is working. It's on overdrive. And that's what I'm saying right now. Do not feel guilty for taking a nap. Do not feel guilty for laying down for 20 minutes. Do not feel, and I definitely feel that way. I'm like, I should be doing more. I should, you know what I mean? This is what the situation is. This is what's presenting itself. And that's why I'm saying taking off those blinders, because you're closing yourself off to kind of, like I said, they're showing, not a crock pot. What is that called? My mom had one when we were growing up. I think she still has it. Pressure cooker. It's like, you know what I mean? You're building up so much of this and the lid's about to pop. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where it's just like being kind to yourself right now. Doing small things for yourself. You know what I mean? If things are being removed right now, just trust the process. That, like I said, where things are right now will not be the same thing by the full moon. So that's where I feel like Spirit is just saying, like, I know it is so easy to say, like, turn off your mind from this situation. But you know what I mean? If it's something that weighs on your mind, it's hard to turn that off as much as you try to distract yourself, you know? And that's why I was just like, just because this is what it feels like, don't take that verbatim. You know what I mean? If it's like you've done everything you can, you're putting all your resources into everything, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just like this is learn to relax, not to give up. And I feel, but we feel guilty for relaxing because it's just like, well, I could change this situation because I could do this, this, this. I shouldn't be laying in bed right now watching Netflix. I shouldn't be, sitting here with my feet up. No, you should. It's been a long, hot summer if you've been in the northern hemisphere. You know what I mean? If you're like myself and it's just like, you're hot already from hot flashes and then it's a heat wave and now you're breaking out in rashes, it's like you're doing everything to keep your temperature down. You know what I mean? And it's just like your body is reacting a certain way. Everyone's like, oh, take estrogen. If, and this is only applying to the people that have these things that run in the family, where it's just like, if you go the medical prescription way, it's like it will cause, you know, comfort for maybe 6, 8 years and then have another effect. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that is across the board for everybody. You have to do your due diligence and what your family history is when it comes to these kind of situations. So, you know what I mean? You go the path that you feel is best, that suits you and your health history and everything like that. You know what I mean? I always say seek medical professional, consult a doctor, all that good stuff. I will never tell anyone do not do those things. I'm not that reckless. I would never say that. Even with tarot, I say this is guidance. All your decisions as you move forward changes how things unfold. So, maybe things may resonate. That's okay. Nothing wrong with it resonating. But nowhere am I ever saying, even when it comes to my faith system, I ever say, like, you have to do what I'm doing because, the sky is falling. You know what I mean? Like, I would never be that careless. So that's why I'm saying, like, every journey is different. I show what I do. If it resonates with you, then, also, go with God. But, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's what I'm saying. Do what, you know, resonates with you. But I'm just saying, with this situation, with the overthinking and not being able to sleep soundly, getting that realm sleep, it's just like you got to, you know, just tell yourself, take a deep breath, box breathing, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4, and you just keep going. Even if you have to put your finger in the air and you're drawing a box with your finger, whatever gets you there. And that's why I'm saying meditation, because they're trying to give you the answers you're seeking to stop this. So that's why I'm saying be mindful of that. Maybe over caffeinating, drinking caffeine later in the evening, and you shouldn't. And I know, trust me, I get it. I was like, last week, I was like, I wanted to put some energy in my water, and I'm like, I don't want to do that because I know I'm going to be all bonkers later on. So it's just like listening to your body. Like I just feel like it's like everything that has happened is caught up. You know what I mean? It's like go, 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 go. And it's like, well, now there's no go. There's no more giddy up and go. So that's where I was just like, taking care of yourself, especially mentally. 3 of Cups, and this is the thing. It's like celebrations are coming. Maybe you're celebrating a new home. I don't think I've ever noticed that home in the background ever before. So this is like, or maybe going on a vacation and it's like I feel like this is very European, like castles and stuff like that. So, going to like these elaborate cottages or villas and stuff like that, like because you appreciate architecture and design and all that good stuff. It's aesthetically pleasing. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. Just because it looks like this today does not mean by the 29th it'll look like this still. 27th, 29th. I have to check because, dates always change. I saw 29th. Now everybody's saying the 27th. It's a surgeon moon, so I'll have to take a look again. But celebrations are coming. Like they said, this is time for cornucopia to come in. You've done all the things. You've been going through all the things. Like, things are changing. Better sleep, help is on the way. So I know this is a body of water, but I feel like a path, and I feel like this is where Spirit is saying we are supporting you. So when you see 11, that is your angels coming in, telling you like, hey, we're here to support you. Like, you may not need our support right now, but we're always by your side. Like, even if they're playing cards, maybe playing cards, ace of spades. I think that's the ace of swords. But this is where it's just like, I again with the little leaflings, like rebirth. We've been seeing a lot of that. I've been getting a lot of imagery of seedling. So this is where it's like you planted something, and maybe it didn't happen when you were trying to have it happen, but maybe this is where they're like, now it's going to happen, or it probably would have happened back then. It's just like maybe you didn't have all the correct information. So they're saying the Fool. So literally this weekend are like, when things were, the last 4 days, it's just like I was going to do something, but something popped up and I'm like, I need to put my energy there. So I was putting my energy there. Sunflower, so very Fool or very Sun card, like the sunflower surrounds you, so they surround, representing success in your life. And it doesn't necessarily mean, it just means like everything's going the way that you want. Love the little dragon, looks like a fur baby. But it's like you took the leap. You know what I mean? And it's just like I was explaining to my son, I'm like, I'm afraid of doing this, but I'm like, if I don't do it, I'll never know. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like hurting anybody or harming to anybody. You know what I mean? That's why I was just like, I'm going to try and see what happens. Who knows? You never know. That's the thing. I'd rather put it out there and whatever happens, happens. At least the universe sees that they gave me an idea. They saw me investing my energy into it. And, whatever happens, happens. And that's the thing about the Fool. It's like either you're going to soar and fly, and they're showing an eagle, so eagles may be significant, birds of the air, or we're going to catch you. So they're showing these ginormous hands, so like a safety net, like with gymnastics, acrobats. So maybe that's what gymnastics may be significant to you, or cheerleading, where it's just like, taking those safety precautions because you're learning a new routine to make sure that nobody gets hurt. You know what I mean? Having the sponge, when you go to the hop, skip, jump, or a trampoline park or something like that, and they have the big foam squares like that. So for like extra padded protection. You know what I mean? And that's what we're afraid of. We're afraid of the unknown. And I feel like because there's so many things that are unknown right now, and disruptions, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Sleep is so important right now because it's just like these disruptions have had lasting effects that where it's like you're not sleeping soundly because you're always on one butt cheek because you're always like, oh, this is, you know what I mean? So it's like kind of that, you know what I mean? Not surprise energy or element or anything like that. I just feel like it's this is where spirit is just like, keep in mind that all these things have happened. So when you're feeling guilty, it's like, remember when you only got 2 hours of sleep and you did all this? It's like, stop feeling guilty. That's post-traumatic stress disorder. Someone has made you feel that way, or you've been in survival mode so long that, like even I was watching something and I was like, something I felt. And they were just like, because you've been in survivor mode so long, that's why these emotions come up. This is funny enough. It's like Surgeon Moon and it's like their heads are going back, but they look like snakes. But again, with the towers, the pillars usually are duality. So we got that with the Two of Wands. This is stability coming back up. Think Libra, think scales. They're showing Gemini. But think about where they're showing balance, the yin and the yang. You know what I mean? This also is like, a call to call back in your tribe. So you haven't been talking to people. So everybody's been busy. Like me and my one girlfriend, she's going through, changes at work yet again and training and all this stuff. We're always going through changes. You know what I mean? So more demanding on your time. And that's why I'm saying it's going to feel weird when you go from, go, 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 go all the time. And now everything's quiet. And you're just like, what do I do with myself? You know what I mean? And it's like, if you are tired and you want a nap, go take that nap. Ace of Swords. So this is where it's like, when we're talking about scales, it's like, if anything, I feel like because they are showing scales floating in the air, like it would be like, this kind of card, but it's just the Libra scales. And it's just like balance, but I also feel justice. Miscarriage of justice. So, you know what I mean? Paving your own way, but that, like they're saying, like, usually it's a wreath around the sword, as long as you're on the right side of things, things will turn out. You know what I mean? I feel like you know that through cycles in your life, everything always turns out. And that's where, you got to allow your higher self to come in and nurture you, give you that hug and just be like, hey, everything's working out. Like, you don't have, I feel like with the smoke putting out the fire. So I feel like this is where we have a lot of fiery energy. This is where water needs to come in. So very temperance, balancing out the emotions there, finding ways to ground yourself. So like they were saying, if you're not receiving the answers you're seeking, then it's like meditation where you can ground yourself. Tell yourself first of all that you are loved. You love yourself, Tell yourself I love you. You know what I mean? You're a hard worker, you're dedicated, all the great things about you. This is not an ego trip, but it's like calming you down saying, "Hey, you're doing everything you can in this situation, you know? There's nothing more to be done here." I feel like moths, those moths that have the looks like eyes, they look like a butterfly. The bigger moths. My sister has a tree full of them in her backyard. Is what I'm feeling there. We got that last week too with the moth, or the week before. This is another positive confirmation that things are turning around because they're saying you're looking at things right now. So again, that blocked view where you think that things are going to turn out this way, but you don't have all the information. Very hermit energy. So when I was like, what deck am I pulling from today? On the other side of this is the hermit card, and that's what I saw in my mind's eye was the hermit. We also posted, was that yesterday or today, with the hermit, where it's just like you don't have all the information. They're showing a serpent where it's seen in a negative light, where it's just like there's things going on that you are not privy to. And this is where, again, with justice, and then keep on showing Libra scales that maybe conversations have been happening that you're not privy to, and then that information is going to come out somehow. This could also be like, life looks this certain way, like we were saying, just because it looks this way, by the full moon, it's going to look totally different. This is why I was saying, don't count yourself out. And this situation is still evolving. There's still things going on in the background that you're not aware of yet. Page of Pentacles. So, kids going back to school. So highlighting like, where, growing, expanding. And I feel like, again, this could be yourself, you know what I mean? Putting your energies into an area or enhancing an ability that was laying dormant in you that you're going to try out, and this is where it's like, I don't feel like it's a risk though. I feel like it's just like, and love him or hate him with Kanye West, they're like, aren't you afraid to fail? And he goes, I never fail because I always try. You know what I mean? He is a very confident individual. I wish he would, really hear those words when he's struggling. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, he says messed up things, but I feel like it's, and not excusing his behavior, you know what I mean? But it's coming from a place of hurt. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's just like if I say these controversial things, like, maybe someone will reach out or something. I always say that this man need a hug. Like, you know what I mean? He needs someone genuine that actually will be there. And it's like, you're safe. You know what I mean? Like, maybe let's put away the devices or take away the devices and be like, you don't need to be feeding into this monster. You know what I mean? It's just, but again, here with knowledge, with the book, and it's like really getting into, so maybe this could be a child around you really getting into something, because I get like youth energy. But usually the Page of Pentacles, if we want to go to like the traditional, is like news coming in 3 weeks time. So, the full moon is, I don't feel like 3 weeks, maybe like 2 and a bit, maybe, but roughly around that time period. So getting more youth energy. So this is like hanging on to something so tightly we're afraid of losing it. But again, I feel like, or maybe you're hanging on to it. Maybe it is an individual, but maybe there's an idea, you're hanging on to. And it's like, no, man, we're opening a door for you. Very Ace of Pentacles, where there's usually a mountain when you see that archway, where the hedge has now become an archway. And it's like, you don't have to work for this. And it's like, you know what I mean? Instead of pouring into, this, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to start looking, like, opening your vision more. There's actually an answer right behind you. You know what I mean? It's just like, there's this opportunity, there's this blessing, there's the, you know what I mean? It's just like, and look how close it is. It's just like, you can't see it. You don't feel it right now. You know what I mean? A lot of people think because you're a healer or you're this or you're that and you have these abilities that you're immune to a lot of these earthly experiences. And it's like, that's what helps us during our healing because we experience it with no harm to none, including myself. I just got to put that out there. I feel like crown energy, but, and this looks kind of like a window. So it's like, even if you can't see the door, we have windows. Like, I just feel like there's other possibilities, but I feel like this is major. Like it just emerged from the ocean. You know what I mean? It's just like, feels like an earthquake, and it's like, this is where it comes up. It's just like, never count yourself out. Never, you know what I mean? And that's what they keep saying. Just because it looks like this, how many times have we gone through this cycle? You know what I mean? And it's like, you've never, X, Y, Z. It's never. You know what I mean? And it's not saying that you shouldn't try or you shouldn't, you know what I mean? Do the things. But I feel like because you do the things, I feel like that's why you never fail. Even though you feel like you are. You know what I mean? So you got to watch what your triggers are. What's triggering you to feel this way? Is it people, places, things? Because then you need to remove those from, like they were saying, shedding skin. Out with the old, in with the new. So as I'm saying that, out with the old, you may be getting, you've outgrown furniture or it's not your aesthetic anymore or something like that. And it's like in with the new. So, giving you the finances to do so. Four of Pentacles, hanging tightly to so many things that we're afraid of losing it. And that's where I feel like that Four of Cups comes in, where it's just like, things look a certain way, but you know what I mean? Don't count don't count it out. Don't count out, universe stepping in and intervening or how this is going to play out, because you don't have all the information. You know what I mean? Remember, we keep seeing like holding like a poker hand close to our chest. So the final hand hasn't been played yet. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying, like, this again, where this lovely woman, and I shared it on my TikTok because I feel like a lot more people need to hear that. It's like, say it louder so the people in the back can hear it. Because you've been in survival mode for so long, this is what makes you so hypersensitive to everything. And people try to take advantage of that hypersensitivity to be like that. Oh, no, that's actually your reality, when it actually isn't. They're showing the Two of Swords. They're showing like there's snow on this mountain. I feel like this is. I feel like it's a decision, but I feel like it's not like it's a hard decision. I just feel like you battle with the decision where, like I said, like maybe over the weekend, it's like your feet were up. So like with us with Shabbat, we can't do like laborious jobs, but they always, like the new generations will be like, if it makes you happy, that like helping people out. I'm like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I know it helps this person, which, maybe is an answered prayer or something like that. You know what I mean? As long as your heart is in the right place, you know what I mean? And it's like, don't feel, I feel because you're always go, 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 go. And when you're resting, you feel like you should still be going. But it's like, you're resting because you need that energy for what, maybe coming later in the week or something like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's like nap. If you feel like napping, do the things. Do what makes sense to you. Do what speaks to your heart. You know what I mean? I just feel like, I feel like there's something that's going to be an opportunity, and it'll be up to you if you take it, is what I'm getting. This is a blessing. This is an answered prayer, but it's your decision if you take it. You don't have to take it, but I feel like it will be good if you did. You know what I mean? But again, this is guidance. So situations change and evolve and everything like that, all that good stuff. So it'll be up to you. And I feel like that's what they're saying. Like, it's a disruption. So that's where they're saying it's going to be up to you, because it's right around Christmas and stuff, right? So a lot of people, who wants to deal with certain, like moving or something like that, in the winter. You know what I mean? It's a disruption. So that's where I'm like, If you've done this before, utilize what you've learned before in the past and make the most of this opportunity if you want to. You know what I mean? I would, again, this is going to be your choice. The Magician, I feel like, again, with the crown chakra, I feel like this is up to you. This is your choice. I love the fact that his eyes are closed because it's very meditation. And I feel like that's where it's just like what you need, the answers you seek. So look, Three of Pentacles right there. There's the window. So that's what I'm saying. Like, working together. So this could be Father, Son, Holy Spirit. This could be your mind, body, soul. This is where I again, this is like, what's that card called? I could see it is from the Energy Oracle cards, and it's highlighting the crown chakra, your spirit, and your gut intuition all being in alignment. And I feel like that's what they're saying here. Like, again, with the eyes closed, I feel like in a meditative state. It's like the answers you're seeking are coming to you, the resolutions you're looking for are coming to you, and I feel like it's just open yourself up a little bit more to receiving those downloads, those messages. Like Anastasia said, maybe ask the question in a different way. So even though it sounds like doom and gloom, it's not. It's like they're saying, you're Victor, we're in the wreath. I feel like because, again, you're in survival mode and you're hypersensitive and you're sensitive, it's just like it's fueling, again, you're breathing a lot of oxygen into the situation. So this is where it's like catching yourself. We don't know this is for fact. We don't know if this is going to even happen. So instead of exhausting ourselves, exhausting our resources, depleting our energy, let's put our best foot forward. And when those things try to come in, shut it off. Be like, nope, I'm not feeding that situation. You know what I mean? It's just like like kind of like chess with the Sopranos, where Jackie is playing with the young girl, and her father is like, see, you should have played that out because you didn't know how you didn't know how that was going to end. Maybe Jackie thought he saw. That's what I'm saying. Just because you think what you see or what you feel is what's going to happen, that's not what's going to happen. Six of Pentacles. So going from the Five of Pentacles to the Six of Pentacles, from feeling isolated, left out in the cold, and alone. Those are harsh feelings to feel, especially when you're overthinking and it's just like, nobody understands, nobody gets it. You know what I mean? It's just like, no. It's like you are seen, you are heard. You know what I mean? It's just like you got to allow people to love on you. You got to allow people to hug you. You got to be open to listening to. If you don't want to hear anything, just say, I don't want to. I just want to. So 32, 32. I just want. So a lot of threes. So, we were highlighting Three of Pentacles at the beginning. So 32, 32. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So we got 5, 5. Change and transformation. 5 plus 5 is 10. So this is like wrapping it cycles up. So we kept getting the World card last week. So this is what I'm saying. Just because right now it looks a certain way, something's going to come in. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where it's just like, again, being open to channel messages. Be open to, if you're able to, taking that rest. Even if you close your eyes for 5 minutes. When I was going through this with Shane, after he passed away, accepting, his passing, accepting this is our life, accepting the situation, I was exhausted. I wasn't sleeping very much, maybe 4 hours a night. And my sister's like, just close up everything, make sure, everybody's good, showered, done all the things. She's like, go to bed. And she goes, even if you're laying there for 15 minutes and then you get up, have to go to the bathroom, maybe get a drink of water. She's like, go back to bed again. She's like, try to stay in bed as long as possible. So that way your body you're reteaching your body it's safe to rest. It's okay that, you're going through this situation. Nobody asked for it. But nevertheless, here we are. And we're going to teach our body that it's okay to rest during this time. And you'll slowly start to feel that change in you. That hyper energy, that always on alert is calmed down. Remember that game Among Us the kids used to play all the time? My boys loved that. I loved it too when they would play it. Or I would watch them be the person that was actually it. But it's like, remember, they would always push the alarm. And I feel like that's what it is. Right now, it's like your body wants to keep pushing the alarm and you're like, what's that? What's that? What's that? You know what I mean? And again, it's like you're feeling it in your chest. You know what I mean? You're feeling that anxiousness, and it's like your body's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, we're on alert when you shouldn't be. You know, Nine of Pentacles. This is a rebirth in your life. So remember, we were seeing those little seedlings pop up, and it's like something you prayed for, something you manifested, something you asked for, something you know, like we were talking about the Seven of Pentacles is what they're showing. You planted the seedlings, you put in all the hard work, and now it's time for you to take a step back and rest. Watch. This is a time for you to observe. This is Spirit, Yahweh, Yeshua, Divine Creator, Gaia, Mother Earth, again, showing you that we see the work that you put in. We see that you're making the moves. Now it's our turn to move. This is not a chess game where they're trying to trap you or put you into checkmate. They're saying we're matching your energy or even 1,000,000,000 times fold of what you put in. Because now you're ready for it. Now when this opportunity comes in, or whatever the situation is, you will rise to the occasion because you have before. You have the resources, is what they're saying. So that's where it's just like, you know, this is not all for nothing. But again, this is telling you to rest. You're going to need that rest. You're going to need to be fully recharged for what's coming. You know what I mean? You may be called to help someone else. So if you're fried, how are you going to help this person that's going to come to you for help? So I feel like that's where Spirit is just like, you know, you'll notice cycles where it's just like you rested, and then it's like, you know, like I noticed with myself, retrogrades or something comes up, it's usually 2 weeks before, and I help people that I'm close with as they're going through their cycle through retrograde. So that's what I'm saying. You know, it feels like, oh my gosh, you know, like it just feels like reoccurrences of bad events, like not like, or bad luck, quote unquote. Not this happened, then this happened, then it's like everything was going great, and then all these. But that's the thing. It's like still look for the positive things in those situations. Even though this happened, it's like that. You know, this happened too. You know what I mean? It's changing your perspective. We can concentrate and keep feeding it, like again, feeding into the fire and making it bigger. Or we can sit there and be like, yeah, that did happen, but this also did happen. Or, you know, I thought this was going to play out this way, because we're always taught to think for the worst case scenarios, right? Always save for a rainy day. Not saying not to not save for a rainy day, but this is what I'm talking about, is where it's like, you know, we're always hypersensitive to always going to worst case scenarios. You know what I mean? Because I definitely felt like Cough Cough really hammered that into a lot of people's heads that, you know, this is going to happen. And they're doing it again with the explosive salads and, you know, measles. You know what I mean? So they're just trying to, again, it's like, we're going to make you concentrate here and have you in panic mode so you're not looking over here, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying, like, things are turning around. It is a rebirth. There is this major shed going on. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't waste your energy on trivial things that don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? You feel a certain way, you feel knockings, you feel uneasy, and it's like, there may be some truth to that. You may not find out that truth, you may not. You know? But the thing is, it's just like, if it's not affecting what you're doing currently in this moment, just leave it alone. If you're supposed to know more information, you're supposed to receive more downloads, you will. If you're just, you know, maybe this is just like your, kind of like your spidey sense going off. Not saying that it's incorrect, but, you know, you don't need to feed into it. You know what I mean? It's not right in front of you right now. It's not part of what you need to deal with. You just be like, I'm going through it right now. Thank you for bringing in the message. I received the message. I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to put that, file that for later, for when I need that. You know what I mean? If you're that type of person where you know, you don't respond to people's nonsense, you know, you sit there and you're like, I'm going to file that for later. Because when you need it, you could go back to that file and be like, remember when you said this, or this was, you know, oh, they were warning me. They were telling me that back then, you know, a couple months ago, they were knocking about this, you know, this is why. So be open to communication, but like, again, with like they were showing with the Devil card, watch what you feed your energies into. They can deliver messages, but if it's not in front of you right now, just file away for later. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick card pull, 3939. May the universe bless you good. Drink your water, get your rest. Have a beautiful, blessed week.